Hello, friends. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you very much for coming in. I'm very happy. I wanted to address to our viewers that it is a special day for us. He is teacher Lee Prescott. Is it right?
That's right. Yep. Yep. Perfect.
That's right. He is an English teacher, and so please I will give him the word, and he will introduce himself.
Wow. Okay. My name is Lee Prescott. I'm an English teacher from England. So I like to joke that I'm an English teacher. Yeah, and I've been teaching since 2007.
Wow. 2007.
I know, which is quite a long time.
Yeah, 15 years.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Yeah, I've spent most of that time teaching in London, in the UK. But I've also taught abroad. So I taught in Beijing for 1 year in 2008. No, 2007, 2008. And I also taught in Tokyo in Japan, 2012.
Wow.
I've basically done everything in this industry. So I'm mainly a teacher. That's what I love doing the most. But I've also managed schools. I've trained teachers. I've written courses. I've written tests. Basically everything in this industry, I've done it a little bit at least. Yeah, and I'm still doing it. So obviously I like it.
You've done fantastic job. Let me introduce my friend. She's Alexandra. Please, Alexandra, tell us something.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandra. I'm from Russia, and I'm an English teacher as well. I've been teaching maybe for 2 years almost. Just nothing, because my background is human resources.
Oh, Annie is coming in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I admitted tennis. Oh, please, Alexandra, please continue. I will invite Annie.
As said, my background is human resources, but why I decided to start teaching because one of my friends who lives in Manchester, and he told me, you have to start teaching. You have a talent to teach English.
That's cool. How did you know your friend from Manchester?
Language exchange, because he's learning Russian and we met each other on Facebook.
Oh, that's quite cool. Does he have a strong Manchester accent?
Yes, it's cause the first time was quite difficult to understand him because his accent. But I think it's not quite difficult for me right now to understand because another my friend who's from Sheffield, I can't understand it. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't understand Yorkshire and Yorkshire accent.
Wow. Yeah. Usually for British people, like even for British people, I mean, the Manchester accent is considered a bit more difficult. So it's surprising that you think Sheffield is more difficult to understand.
Most difficult for me, yeah.
Annie,
wow.
Are you here? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hello, Annie. Please,
hello,
Annie. You've missed introduction of teacher Lee, but say something about yourself. Introduce yourself.
I'm Annie from Bali, Indonesia. I'm Annie from Bali, Indonesia. I'm here just an English lover. That's all. Nothing is official in me. Thank you.
Short and sweet.
Thank you very much, friends. I wanna highlight that you all are web talkers. And so just to let know our friends, I wanted to show how teacher's Lee profile looks like.
Oh,
He is it.
Mm.
Wonderful wonderful description about himself. He's experienced in teaching
Excuse
English
me,
very.
RD.
Okay, yeah.
Excuse me, teacher D. May I ask you, teacher Lee sound like a Korean name, is it?
no.
No.
Yeah, it causes some confusion for my students that it's a family name in Korea.
Yeah, me too.
Also a family name in China, but it's spelt differently in English. But no, for me, Lee is my first name, so Prescott is my family name. So there's no Asian parent. There's no, although I am interested in Asia, like I lived in China. But yeah, there's no reason why my name is Lee. It's just my mom liked the sound of it.
Yeah. I was thinking if you are Korean or Chinese.
Yeah, I get it all the time actually, but no, definitely not. No, well, not that I know of. Maybe I've got some great grandparent who's Asian, but I don't think so. But yeah, it's just a coincidence of my name. But yeah, it's a good question.
Nice
I get it all the time.
Yes, that's confusing. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, it was pleasure to know that teacher Lee has his own YouTube channel, and there are a lot of wonderful lessons, and I was
I'm still learning
impressive.
how to do it, but
Impressive, really. So nice teaching, so wonderful videos, and
thank you.
it made very professional.
I need a better camera, to be honest, but yeah, but it's fun to do the editing. You know, I didn't know about editing before I started the YouTube channel, so the learning curve was quite steep at the beginning. But yeah, it's fun to edit things together. Yeah, and I've got some ideas for future videos as well, because I didn't do anything for 2019 because I was too busy, but I really want to try and but when I looked at it this year, the beginning of this year, I thought, oh Lee, that's not so bad. Yeah, you've done quite well. These videos are not bad. Could be worse. Yeah, keep going.
Could be worse. That's why. Really interesting. Did you do it by yourself?
Yeah. That's why it was so difficult at the beginning.
Fantastic. You're very adaptable in using different, maybe Adobe Premiere. Is it?
What? Sorry.
Adobe Premiere Pro.
Oh no! I don't have any Apple products, so it's all done through open source software and things like that, and Android stuff. So yeah, it's
Android,
but,
just using smartphone.
Oh well, I use my laptop and my smartphone together to do it. Yeah, but yeah, I wished I had Adobe products. It would make everything a lot quicker. But yeah,
interesting.
But yeah,
and I recommend everybody of our viewers to watch, to learn English with teacher Lee. It makes that's great.
But I prefer to learn English with teacher RD.
That's great.
Oh, competition. Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you, Eddie.
That's good.
Friends,
good.
maybe you have any questions. Please feel free to ask teacher Lee.
What was my decision to become an English teacher?
Very similar to yours, actually. I had, well, I'm not from London originally, so I'm from the middle of the country, like near Birmingham. And then I moved to London in 2003 or 2004, something like that. I can't remember now. and in London's so multicultural, right? So I met people from all over the world, and one of my friends was from Malaysia, and another one of my friends was from Italy, and they were studying English at like English language colleges, and then they'd meet me and they'd be like, "Oh, Lee, I had a problem in my lesson. Do you know this word, or do you know this?" And I'd say, yeah. And I would just explain it just naturally. And they said, "Oh, Lee, your explanation is really good, better than my teacher. You should be a teacher." And at the beginning I thought, nah, no way. But they kept saying it. They kept, "No, Lee, really, your explanation is very clear." And then my girlfriend at the time did some research for me, and she found some teacher training course, CELTA, if you know it. And she recommended I go for it, and I did. And then since then, I've been in this world.
That's great.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because at the time, I was really, me, teacher, no way. I really resisted it for a long time, but I'm really glad that I accepted it. Yeah.
In my opinion, every teacher should have some passion to teach. Otherwise, it will be like wasting time for students and for teachers as well.
Yeah, it's much like, because for example, like when I lived abroad, so living in China and Japan, to be honest, like I met some teachers there that they were not teachers. They were just there to travel, so they wanted to travel around China or Japan, and, so they spoke English, so they got a teaching job, which is cool. I get it. It's nice. But I could feel the difference between me and them. Like, they are teaching, I am a teacher. It's a big difference. So they would complain about things, or they would find certain things difficult or stressful, but the things they found difficult and stressful were the things that I enjoyed. So it just showed the different mindset, how the different mindset creates like a different reality. So yeah, you need to have passion.
Is it difficult to teach your native language? Because I teach Russian as a foreign language, and that's it's quite difficult for me to teach.
Oh, why? What's difficult about? Well, I know Russian is a difficult language from what I've read, but what makes it difficult for you to teach Russian?
Because the Russian language has too many rules, except English. English pronunciation is difficult, but Russian grammar is so difficult to learn and explain it.
Yeah, I have actually looked at Russian a little bit, and yeah, I know it's terrifying. It's quite, actually, yeah, the grammar's quite scary.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a lot. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to remember. Now teaching English is nothing to me, but at the beginning, it was difficult because a student would ask me, "Oh, teacher, a classic example, what's the difference between present perfect and past simple?" All right. So lots of students have a problem with this. And when I was beginning teaching, I didn't know. Obviously, when I say it, when I use English, I use the correct form naturally every time. But when the student asked me that question, and I had to, "Oh, what is the difference?" Like those kinds of questions at the beginning of my teaching career, yeah, I really had to go home and think about it, because we don't study English grammar in our English schools. So most native English people probably don't know what present perfect is, So it's, at the beginning, those questions were really challenging, but obviously at this point I've got so much experience that I still sometimes get a question which is new, but usually a student asks a question and I've been asked that question before. So I've got the experience to bring it. But at the beginning, actually, yeah, teaching my own language was weird.
Yeah, I know it, because when I ask my friends who lives here in my city, they are native speakers, but I asked them questions about the difference between present simple and present perfect. They didn't know the answer to this question.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. It actually, like, so in your Russian schools, do you learn Russian grammar at school?
No, we didn't know it.
Right.
We used it naturally.
Yes, right. So same here. So most English people, normal English people, like not teachers, they probably don't know. They know present simple and past simple, but if you talk about present perfect or past continuous or third conditional, they have no idea what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
I know.
Actually, I joined to your words, and of course, teaching is not very easy. It is hard. Just recently, I've led my lesson, and I was so scared. I was sorry. What?
Me
Do you
too.
hear?
Me too.
Yeah. I was so scared. I wanted to quit out, but hopefully, fortunately, Alexandra and teacher friend came to me for
Oh,
help.
really?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
good. Annie, join us, please.
What's up? I'm all ears. Yeah, actually, when I see teacher Lee, I prefer if he like a doctor. You know, I prefer to see him like a doctor. For my for my
Okay.
side, you know. So, well, I'm going to ask about this. I think you are also online teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So, what the benefit? Can you compare what the benefit between teaching online and offline? So, what the advantage?
That's a good question.
Pros and cons, something like this.
If I had to choose, like, which one do I prefer? I'd obviously prefer face-to-face teaching. You can't beat being in the room with the person, you know? Being in the room with a class, especially a class, because like when I teach online, it's always one-to-one. So being in a room with a class of students, so say like 6 students, there's an energy and you can feel the energy really tangible. You can touch the energy, you can feel it. So that's really wonderful. Get ready, and then obviously watching their attention focus on things. That's really magical, actually.
You can tell the vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can
Precisely. Yeah, and also you can feel when they like say my one of my favorite noises that a student makes is like and you can, but their body language also relaxes when they understand, and you can see that a little bit on camera, but obviously in a room you see their whole body. So that's obviously really wonderful, but obviously it's limited by the amount of people that can come to the room or come to the country. Whereas online teaching, like now I'm talking to you guys, you're all over the world, right? I mean, I feel very passionately that English is a world language, and it should be more of a world language, So teaching in London, basically the students that teach in London, they're quite rich, right? I mean, to travel to London, to live in London, I mean, it's super expensive to live in London, especially if you're coming from abroad and you need to exchange the money. And that's great. And I love the passion and the motivation of those students. But I also want to be able to teach students in other parts of the world who can't afford the money to come to the UK, or they just can't afford the time. Maybe they've got the money, but they just can't take the time off work or school or something. So online English just really takes takes English to where it should be, which is on a world scale. Cons. I don't know. Cons of face-to-face teaching. I can't think of any, to be honest.
Sorry, what does it mean, cons?
Negative points.
Ah.
Yeah. So pros, cons.
I'm asking.
Plus points, negative
I'm
points.
asking about the positive and negative one, negative side. You know, so he described like a pros and cons or advantage and disadvantage kind of this.
I can't think of any cons.
But I think for me, if you teach like online, but even though you just like face to face, but they don't care whether you already having shower or not. You know, for example, and they cannot catch your smell. You know, so that's fine, right? You jump out from the bed and you just like wearing your shoe and start. You know, just like free. Nobody knows.
There's no commute to work. Yeah, you don't need to get on the bus or the underground. Yeah, that's
true.
Plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't
so
think of cons.
which one more benefit? Financially, which one is more benefit? Offline or online? Financially, what do you think?
That's another good question. Wow. Okay.
Yes, of course, this is leading for financial, right? So everybody teaching for money, right? They never teaching for only for watching.
True. But if I wanted money, I'd be a lawyer. So, I think if you're looking at it from a business perspective, being a teacher in a school, there is a natural limit to the amount you can earn. Unless you want to open your own school, in which case you become the business owner and a teacher. But if you're just a teacher in a school, there is a very natural ceiling, called like an earning ceiling. And you're never really going to earn more than that.
Yes. True.
Whereas most of the teachers that teach online, they're doing it independently. They're doing it freelance. So you have much more control over how much you charge per lesson and your time. And again, working in a school, the school opens at 9 and finishes at 5, at least in London. But what if I want to work at 6, want to work at 7? What if I want to teach more to make more money? The school isn't open. Whereas online, I can just set my timetable from 9 in the morning till 9 at night, and I can earn more money that way. And yeah, you have more control over how much you can set. And also, I think it's a good idea, which a lot of teachers should do, which is also design ebooks and sell ebooks, things like this, or record content, record courses and put them on learning platforms like Udemy or something like this. So, and that way you get all of the profit. Whereas in a school, you're trading your skills and time for money. And obviously it's a negotiation between the school owner and you as to how much you get. Whereas if you're doing it independently, that's 100% profit for you. So financially, the potential for online is much bigger. But then with freelance comes unreliability. So you really need to push yourself. You really need to market yourself. Whereas a school, you have guaranteed hours. So again,
did you teach it at school? Did you teach at school as well?
Yeah, most of my career has been taught in schools, either public schools or private schools. It's only in the last three years I've been online. How?
So how did you manage your time then at school and online teaching also and so on? So how did you manage your time?
I started online teaching in 2016, at the end of 2016. And yeah, I was just, my school finished at 5 and I just stayed in the school while the school was empty. And then I just had private lessons online afterwards. And then as that kind of grew a bit, I could reduce the amount of time in the school. So I could work part-time in the school, because I had a larger range of students online like this. So it's kind of like at the beginning it was doing both, and then I kind of phased, and now I'm mainly online.
Oh, yeah, because I think, you know, you had to manage your time between at school, you know, like official school, and also online, and your personal life. You're like, I think your girlfriend also needs your time. Tricky for me, you know, if you're spending time online on teaching, your girlfriend gonna be upset to you, you know. That's gonna be boom. You know, that's, you pay attention on it.
Yeah, you do. I just, yeah, no, you're right. I think you just have to make time, you know, you know, yeah, you have to follow your hobbies and relax and meet, you know, friends, family, partner, whatever. You just have to allocate time to be not teaching. You know, it's like Friday night is my time.
You have to maintain
like
your health as well, because according to virus, it's gonna be easier to catch you. Because you pay attention for your health. Yes.
You need to build your immune system.
Sorry. This is like, I don't know, random question. Sorry if that is not good for you. Thank you for answering.
No problem. No, I'm happy.
So, Teacher Lee.
Thank you, Teacher D.
Thanks for you. Thanks for your questions. It's very interesting. Teacher Lee, refer to this issue. What do you think about future education? Is it good to change it for remote education, distant teaching?
I think so. I think we're in a transition point, because again, a lot of more and more teachers, in my experience, are moving online now, which is good. And there's also more and more online companies starting up. But I still feel that where we are now is a bit of a transition point, especially in terms of quality. So there are lots of online companies where there's a physical classroom somewhere, usually in China. Like China is a huge market for online lessons. So there's a physical classroom with children in the classroom, but the teacher comes from America, for example, and they're broadcast into the classroom like this. So it's like the balance between online and physical students. I like the idea of that, but I don't like the reality of it, because in reality, I think sometimes, in my experience, the quality of the teaching isn't quite there. Especially because, like, a lot of places, they just focus on having a native speaker rather than an actual teacher. You know, because if I've got a choice, where I personally stand on this is if I've got a choice between a native speaker of a language and a professional teacher in a language who is non-native, I would prefer the non-native because they're a teacher. Yes, because they've got the teaching skills and knowledge. But apart from that point, which is a different point, it just feels like a lot of schools and teachers are moving online now and trying to kind of figure out the most effective way of doing it. I think it's going to continue, and it'll get better. But at the moment, it feels a bit of a transition point, which is exciting because it means new things can happen. And like this little organization that we've got here, like us guys talking through these ideas together as professionals. I think it's conversations like these are really going to help the online learning environment grow and develop. That's why I really like Webtalk, even though I'm very new to it, actually. Yeah, what do you think about it, Eddie?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but okay.
lots of English language schools prefer native speakers instead of non-natives, because it was my personal experience when I wanted to work in China as an English teacher. No, you are not a native speaker. You can't.
China in particular are quite backward on this particular point. Yeah, they really do demand native speakers, which is unfortunate. But not every school. Again, it's not every school. So you do need to kind of dig a little bit to find the schools that are happy to accept non-native teachers. Although what's really funny is I find in England, we don't care if you're native or non-native. So it's probably easier to get an English teaching job in England than it is in China, because obviously a city like London is so multicultural anyway. So yeah, come to England, get a job.
I need to take my exam at the beginning and go to England.
But yeah, that like I say, that is something which I'm lucky that I don't have to deal with, this non-native teacher issue. But again, being able to teach online is an advantage for non-native English teachers, because again, you don't need to apply for a specific school in China. You can teach Chinese students privately. You know, so you can still set up a Chinese social media account like Weibo or WeChat, advertise your services, and you could have huge amounts of customers from China who have contacted you independently. So,
okay, I got a question. Is it important to have a diploma of teaching or not? Because one of my friends who lives in Moscow, he's a doctor, but he teaches English.
It's always a gamble. Again, I've met very intelligent people, you know, they're professors or doctors, but they're not good at teaching, you know. But then at the same time, because teaching is something which some people are naturally good at teaching, but I think most people are not naturally good at teaching, but they can be trained to teach. You know, so that's the advantage of having a qualification, is you've been trained, you've got a set of techniques that you can use. If you're naturally a good teacher, then that's great. And I've met people that don't have qualifications, but naturally they're just really good at teaching. But a qualification is just a way to identify that you've got a certain minimum level of techniques that you can apply in any classroom situation. But it depends, you know, it kind of depends on the individual a bit.
Thank you very much. So sorry, time flies so fast. It's just 5 minutes left, and maybe you have some one additional question, and let's give Teacher Lee blitz questions one by one.
Yeah, I don't know this question or not. I'm just going to extend my opinion that yes, all learners here anywhere I met, they crazy for native speakers, wherever they are. But for me, if I want to learn English, especially for my own language, like my mother tongue is Indonesian, you know. For me, it's going to be better if I learn English with non-native speakers, because they know my background, so they know how to overcome, because a certain word maybe or a phrases that does not exist in my own mother tongue, so they can understand easily because they know my background. That's going to be better if we learn English through non-native speakers, as long as they're competent on this field. This is for me. So what do you think about this?
Definitely, again, depends on the type of student. I do feel, I agree with you there that learning from a non-native teacher has some definite advantages, like you say, especially if they speak your language, because they understand the specific problems that you're going through. That's definitely true. I just think, especially when it comes to online, you don't need to limit yourself. You know, you can learn from non-native teachers and native teachers, and then you get the best of both worlds. Because native speakers in any language, not just English, like there's a difference between an advanced student and a native speaker. You know, a native speaker, like, it's part of your being. You know, it's who you are. You do understand the language that you speak in a way that a non-native speaker can't. You can generate more new phrases, and I don't know, it's difficult to describe because it's such a part of your being. But like I said, on the other side, a learner, especially at lower levels like A1, A2, having a non-native teacher is such a huge advantage. But if it's online, you can have both, you know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's give blitz questions. How many countries have you visited?
I think it's 12. I've been to China, Hong Kong, if you consider it a separate country, South Korea, Thailand, Malaysia, Japan, Brazil, Malta, France, Austria, Czech Republic, and America. So yeah, 12.
You missing my country. Of course.
I would love to visit. I would really love to visit
In Russia as well.
Yeah.
You have chance in future.
I wish. Yes, I wish you, if you got married and you are in a honeymoon in Bali, okay?
Yes,
and I will show you the beautiful places. Yes, I hope so.
I know all about it. I've considered visiting Bali several times, so I definitely will at some point.
I will. Okay, continue, Adi.
1 minute left.
I know, yeah, it's gone so quickly. Sorry, I'm really, I talk a lot. Sorry.
No, that's good. That's good. Why we invited you
Right, okay.
to give you words, and thank you very much. Thanks for everybody of you for helping me to lead this chat, and I address to our viewers: follow Teacher Lee, subscribe to his channel, and follow Teacher Alexander and Annie, and they're awesome. I love you all, everybody. So,
nobody watching
Alexander.
my YouTube channel.
Thank you.
I'll find your YouTube channel. I'll subscribe to it.
Thank you.
No, I'm just spending time, I'm just spending time wisely according to quarantine, uncertain time, period of time, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's the way. That's about teacher Ardi, boss Ardi. Is the boss in here anywhere. So I respect him and appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ardi.
Thank you, Ardi.
Oh, teacher Ardi, sorry.
Alexander.
I know him for donkey years, so that's why before he become an online teacher,
really?
so I call him only RD. Yeah, but now I have to mention teacher RD. Sorry, teacher RD. I forgot.